So, I have a bit of a problem. The ArchViz app that I've been working on doesn't work on mobile. Today, let's fix that together. Originally, I designed the app to be hosted on the web via pixel streaming, making it accessible for all users, regardless of their device. But when I started testing on my tablet and phone, I noticed that none of my touch inputs were being recognized. So here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to switch to Unreal's enhanced input system, since my current navigation inputs are deprecated. Second, we're going to fix the pan functionality. It's currently the black sheep, you could say, of my navigation system. And third, let's implement proper touch controls so that users can finally use the app on mobile. First up, we need to implement Unreal's enhanced input system. Now, the documentation is pretty sparse, so this process involved a lot of trial and error.
Okay.
Holy shit.
It's a bit intense.
Yeah, slow that down.
I started by creating an input mapping context, which manages all input actions. This will control our navigation functions like orbit, pan, zoom, and select. Now, most of the configurations happen within that mapping context manager. But there's an important step for each, and this is the input action. This is where you can specify the type of the action. So booleans are simple true and false actions, like selecting an object with the mouse click. A float 1D is perfect for generating a single value based on input intensity. So great for zooming, where positive values zoom in and negative values zoom out. And then finally float 2D for inputs that provide X and Y data, like mouse movement for orbit and pan functionality. For orbit controls, the X value controls horizontal rotation, while Y controls pitch. For pan, X controls the right vector, and Y controls the forward vector when top down, or the up vector when head on. Let's test zoom first. Perfect. It's working almost exactly like my previous implementation. Orbit was a bit trickier. I realized I couldn't map right-click since that would make my user spin forever. Instead, I needed XY position data. So I switched to that, and boom, it worked perfectly. Except for the fact that I overrode my pan selection. Baby steps. Now this is where modifiers come in. They add extra functionality to your input mapping. I needed orbit and pitch control with my right click, so I set up a coordinate action. But where's the right click option? Turns out I needed to create a separate Boolean input action for right click first, and then use that as a modifier. After some tweaking, great, now for pan. So I duplicate what I did for orbit and success. Still doesn't feel right though. Let's tackle the pan functionality since it's pretty clunky. Now we have two main issues. The movement is sluggish and doesn't always go in the direction you expect, especially along the y-axis. And two, it seems to hit every collision in the scene along the way. Now, the collision problem was easy. I just had to turn off the collisions in my player character blueprint. My bigger issue with the pan function was that it detaches the camera from the orbit anchor, the pawn. This makes it pretty jarring if the user orbits after panning. Now, I wanted pan to work more closely to how WASD controls work, where movement controls the pawn so that the orbit anchor never detaches. So instead of adding movement input, I switched to a world offset which scales much better for what I need. I simply multiplied the direction vector with the magnitude of the XY movement. And now we're in business. Next, I wanted the camera's y-axis behavior to change based on the camera angle. If the user is top down, it should control forward and backward movement, and if they're head on, it should control height. I grab the angle of the spring arm that attaches the camera to the pawn. I know that at negative 90 degrees yaw, we're top down, and at 0 degrees, we're head on. So I use the range map to clamp these values between 0 and 1. And then I plug that into the alpha of a lerp node between my forward and up vector values. Much better. The movement now changes dynamically based on the user's viewing angle. Alright, now for the meat and potatoes, touch input. Now this gave me a lot of trouble, but after some tinkering, I got it working. And then everything broke. Now the typical way of enabling touch inputs is through project settings, input, use mouse as touch. But this global approach completely overrides all of the mouse controls we set up earlier. Since pixel streaming allows users to use either mouse or touch, we need a solution that lets us swap between them on the fly. A quick little tip that I learned for testing pixel streaming is that you don't need to make a build between each change, as that would take forever. Instead, you can just launch the web signaling server directly in the editor, or through your directory and test it locally. I had my tablet connected to my computer's public IPv4 for all of these tests. If you don't know your public IPv4, simply head to the command prompt and type in ipconfig, and it'll pop up right there for you. So let's try implementing touch inputs directly in the player controller. Here's my approach. First, to get Orbit working, I use a touch input event in my player controller. Now this node is pretty cool. It has 3 main events that you can control. So what I did is that on pressed, I would capture the finger position on the screen, and then on moved, I would capture the change in distance from that original position to the new one. And this helped me dictate the scale of the movement, or the speed at which you would orbit. So if you did a fast movement between pressed and moved, then it would orbit really quickly around the scene, and the slower movement would result in slower sensitivity. Next, for pan and zoom, I want them both to be controlled by 2 fingers, where a 2-finger movement results in a pan, and then a 2-finger pinch results in a zoom. So on pressed, I get the initial distance between the 2 fingers as an absolute value. On moved, I check if the fingers are at the same distance from each other as the saved initial value. If they're different, I trigger zoom. If they're the same, trigger pan. And then I use an enum to ensure that they always stay on the same input type for the duration of the action. In theory, this made sense, but in practice, the zoom was always being triggered even when I'm trying to pan. I solved this by adding a 10 pixel tolerance to the 2-finger touch. If the movement is within that tolerance, I trigger pan. If outside, I trigger zoom. For touch selection, I use the press and release commands. On first tap, I save the location of the touch input, and then on release, if the location is the same, meaning a tap, I trigger the selection functionality. If not, then it's handled as orbit or another navigation function. Now, after some bug testing to figure out the change difference between my 3 navigation types, touch controls were finally working. Now the last thing we needed to do was block touch inputs from happening when using the menus. For example, clicking through the menu options would sometimes trigger orbit. Now after adding a blocking mechanism in the UI, that problem was solved too. Awesome, the app is now fully functional on mobile devices, which means that users can access it from anywhere through pixel streaming. I hope this walkthrough was helpful. Let me know what you guys think of this video style. I'm trying to keep it more casual by including more bugs and their solutions in case it's helpful. But let me know if you prefer high-level overviews instead. Up next, I'm looking at deployment, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget to like, subscribe for more Unreal Engine and architectural visualization content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.